In 10 years, based on the current rate of improvement, AI will be smarter than the smartest human. There'll be ultimately billions of humanoid robots. All cars will be self-driving.
Welcome back to the Conspiracy Meta with Disillusion Druid. This week's theme is Trojan Horse.
Here, hold this while I crack the hermetic seal. Well, why not just use this again? Morty, you just destroyed the map and activated the giant assassin hidden in the Statue of Liberty. I'm sorry. Wait, what? It was a Trojan horse, Morty. Never trust the French. Right.
Starting off the week with the Balkans reBalkanizing, remember the story about Milorad Dodik in Serbian Bosnia being sentenced a few weeks ago? We've been covering Slavic nations and politicians supporting Russia for a while now, but things are heating up over there. While Republika Srpska in Bosnia drafted up secession papers and an autonomous government plan, which is, a direct violation of the Clinton-Epstein funded and determined Bosnian war treaty, a second pro-Russian candidate in Romania was banned from running for office. Couple that with military coalition declarations this week from Kosovo, Albania, and Croatia, and Serbia's Vučić accused of using sonic weapons on his protesters. Holy mackerel is the powder keg next to the lit fire right now. But the Balkans aren't the only area facing geopolitical upheavals. With Trudeau out, Mark Carney was sworn into office, and as effete as the man looks, he claims he's not backing down to Trump's desire for a 51st state. Meanwhile, Portugal's government falls as Prime Minister Luis Montenegro lost a confidence vote in Parliament, leaving their government completely dissolved and on hold until May. Simultaneously, on the other side of Europe, Turkish police arrest the mayor of Istanbul, the key opposition figure to current President Erdogan, on charges of aiding a terrorist group to preempt a coup. Protests flooded the streets of former Byzantium, and chaos reigns once again. But if you think they already seem frantic, we're just warming up. Hopping back to the Ukraine-Russia ceasefire that never was, talks were proceeding with Trump, hoping to rope in control over Ukraine's nuclear plants like Chernobyl as a part of the deal, until Ukraine allegedly went ahead and just bombed a nuclear facility in Russia, causing likely vaporization of any ceasefire to be brokered soon. That's okay, because ceasefires are out of fashion anyways, with Israel and Gaza promptly ending theirs just in time for the yearly Vernal Equinox sacrifice, the evening of night and day. But that's not the only reason why Israel made headlines this week, as Trump released the slightly too long-awaited JFK files unredacted to the public, facing pushback from the FBI and DOJ in the meantime. I intend to go through these thoroughly in the future, but glimpses from headlines and AI blurbs. The spotlight here is on Israel, as the suggestion is the precursor to Mossad whacked JFK, possibly because he wanted to withdraw American support. If you think this is the whole story, though, and that the, quote, shocking revelation of these files is not perfectly timed to the world events I just covered, along with other highly publicized files released like the one revealing JFK Jr. calling Biden a traitor to the United States, the same week Trump rescinds Biden's pardons on account of digital fraud and withdraws Hunter Biden's Secret Service detail while he's on the lam in South Africa, coincidentally where Charles Spencer fled to after the death of Diana, and also coincidentally where Elon's dad made a fortune exploiting emerald mine loopholes. Well, if you believe all this on its face, then I got some crypto to sell you. But Israel, Charles Spencer, and declassified files brings us to the meat of the matter this week. Let's pick up right where we left off last week. First up, Jeremy Allen Jones, COO of Cybus Capital LLP, a British investment firm mostly interested in agriculture and producers of chemicals used in agriculture. He has ties to the University of Oxford and owns a ballet company, but it seems as though his brother was the real power broker here. The next name in the list is Jeremy Allen Jones's niece, Corella Allen Jones, whose father, Sir John Derrick Allen Jones, was the governor of Lancing College and the chairman of Ferranti, an electrical and engineering firm that could be considered, the Lockheed Martin of the UK, basically a defense and cybersecurity contractor. This is where it gets interesting, folks. Ferranti was acquired in 1993, right as the Epstein empire was hitting the power broking scene by company International Signal and Control. International Signal and Control went bankrupt due to fraud shortly thereafter, dissolving into 100 different companies that would make tracking and lawsuits impossible. But before that, ISC fell into the hot seat for selling U.S. military intelligence to South Africa, who then somehow managed to sell it to Iran. And ISC was known for a long time to be a financial cover for CIA activities. Moving on, the next name rather eludes me. One Vicente Alvarez could be a 90s Spanish soccer player. Wouldn't be the only soccer player from the 90s associated with Epstein and friends, but I really have no way of verifying. Next up is Philippe Amon, who I managed to track down on the World Economic Forum website. Philippe took over as CEO of SICPA, that's SICPA, after his brother Maurice, the next name on the Epstein list, died of a heart attack the same month Jeffrey was found dead in his cell. SICPA, based in Switzerland, of course, makes ink and security graphics for currencies and secure documents internationally, as well as provides tracking and security devices and services for regulated international goods like alcohol, tobacco, and halal products. Read as government-approved smuggling. As if that weren't enough, I managed to find a division of SICPA recently shut down in Albuquerque behind a movie studio, making this Epstein contact extremely close and available to Epstein's New Mexico network. Lisa Anastos, we'll say medium certainty on this one. Going off her LinkedIn here, she's a chief legal officer for Tech Hood Ventures, but it's one of those companies that has zero online presence and a domain name that produces a 404 error, so Lisa does charity work with underprivileged housing, once again roping in the housing charities to Epstein, keep your eye on that, with a resume of running legal for companies like Goldman & Sachs, American Express, and Kirkland and Ellis, all in New York City. I don't think I'm too far off the mark with this guess. This network of lawyers here will be a common theme. Skipping Lulu Anderson, a virtually unidentifiable contact. Next up is Robert Appleby. He ties back into the Alan Joneses as CEO of Cybus Capital LLP. That's how you know you've found your mark, folks, if the same companies and institutions keep coming up over and over again. Aside from being CIO, I think that's Chief Investment Officer of ADM Capital Hong Kong, and his ties to Lehman Brothers, Singapore Finance, and St. Peter's College at Oxford, it's kind of tough to dig up too much info on this whole guy. Wrapping up with Maite Arango to attempt to fit this into a real-size clip for everyone. Arango is the heir of Spanish and Mexican restaurant and food corporation Grupo Vips, roping in food once again. Also Spain. There's a lot of Spaniards on here. The woman is a vague globalist, but she was named trustee for the heir apparent to the throne of Spanish Princess Leonora of Asturias. So obviously the royals trust her. Stanford fellow, Scripps graduate. She handles a bunch of corporate nonsense like diversity training and human resources wrangling for her family empire, as well as running a vague globalist NGO called Ashoka. Maybe I'm missing something here, but it just seems like Epstein liked to have a diverse group of friends with friends themselves in high places. While talking about Epstein connections, Harvard University has announced tuition will be free for students from families whose income is less than $200,000. That's either going to bar anyone below a perfect GPA and a captain of 2 sports teams, or it's a statement on what the new lower class looks like in America and how impossibly rich you have to be to stand a chance to go to Harvard. But speaking of Ivy League aristocracy, our resident bonesman-in-chief, Scott Bessent, has declared the White House is heading off a guaranteed financial crisis. Does one of those stopgaps for economic crises include no longer requiring shell corporations to disclose owners and beneficiaries? Also, thanks to resident bonesman U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, Saturday, today, is Skull and Bones Day, or 322. Wonder if there will be any shenanigans this weekend. While on the subject of the Trump administration and a pending financial crisis, Elon claims the federal government just prints magic money out of thin air. Yeah. The Doge is hitting some of its first roadblocks, with federal judges blocking actions like reinstating USAID after Doge dismantled it. That's okay, though, because one of Elon's Doge dogos will assume a leadership position in the reconstruction of USAID. I'm not a big Project 2025 conspiracy theorist, but if there's going to be a rampant replacement of government workers who favor Trump's agenda, I'd say this is a shining example of what it looks like. Is it any wonder, then, that the administration and its officials are facing threats and, quote, domestic terrorism, with attacks on Tesla ramping up and the federal government officially recognizing it as terrorism, and the alt-right comparing graffiti on cars to Kristallnacht? Simultaneously, as a man with a gun pulled some antics outside the CIA headquarters in McLean, Virginia this week, any conspiracy theorist should see where this is all headed. Cybersecurity, authoritarian state, or bust, baby. It seems Elon has quite the effect on political attitudes in this country, even chiming in on potential military action with China, claiming that if the world lets China invade Taiwan, there will be no artificial intelligence chips to manufacture the digital dystopia that none of us asked for. I can completely guarantee you, though, that China will not stop their dream, as the AI chip-powered fighter jets of China can now outperform human pilots in air combat. But speaking of Elon and AI, xAI has joined Microsoft, BlackRock, and NVIDIA in a $30 billion AI infrastructure investment fund, showing that it's easy for corporations to cooperate and work together to accomplish anything, as long as it leads to a technocratic apocalypse. NVIDIA made quite the showcase this week in that direction, first announcing that they plan to subvert China's goal of invading Taiwan by manufacturing AI chips in the United States now, a big win for Trump's manufacturing promises. Too bad that it comes with the CEO of NVIDIA pushing the future of robotics and self-driving cars on everyone, in lieu of the pending manufactured financial crises. Do y'all see how they're doing this yet? Robotics from several companies, including NVIDIA, were showcased this week, yet I still catch AI CGI videos faking robots doing things like dancing, or stranded boomer astronauts landing in the ocean surrounded by dolphins. Perhaps this PR push is mostly the point. Get the money, then take over the world, regardless of whether or not robots or space are real. And unfortunately, AI/robot fever isn't really going anywhere. In conjunction with Trump gunning for Ukraine nuclear, Amazon, Google, and Meta all declared that they want to triple the amount of nuclear power in the world by 2050. As the CEO of Google taunts the Most High God by declaring artificial intelligence as the most important project humanity has ever worked on, never mind, the refinement of our spirits or anything, Google has also dropped $32 billion on Wiz for cybersecurity reasons. Will they be surveilling themselves, though, as Google and Meta both push for copyright laws on training AI to be dropped entirely, while Google's AI can now remove watermarks, and coincidentally, this was the same week a plane crash in Slovenia killed the co-founder of Pirate Bay, a famous illegal file-sharing website, and likely the service Meta and Google use to pirate material to train its AI on. I really wish you could make this stuff up, folks. The piracy is all out here in the open, skull and crossbones and all. That's about all I can take of these dang pirates for this week. France called for the Statue of Liberty to be returned on account of America forgetting the definition, but those Indian givers can kiss my Franco-American ass. Actually, they can take their Apollonian androgyne abomination back and keep the pedos they're sheltering from federal investigation for good measure. And the week of good news sounds like the Daily Wire is in complete shambles, with Demon King Jeremy Boring getting fired and bringing the whole damn psyop down with him. Good riddance to narcissists and fair-weather neolibs. Don't worry if Daily Wire was your echo chamber to de-stress in, because the state of California is testing giving solitary confinement prisoners virtual reality headsets to cope with the existential dread. Coming to a smart city near you. Until next week, remember to like, subscribe, follow, and share my videos. Keep seeking truthers.